welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to do something kind of fun, and I thought of this randomly one night laying in bed, and I have done so many piercing videos. Like every piercing I've ever had, I've taken you guys on the whole journey, cleaning process, the healing process, the pain, things like that, and I realized that I have never done a full collective video talking about each of my piercings and the pain ratings for them, telling you guys how much all of my piercings hurt, like the pain of them. So today we are going to be going through every single one of my piercings, and I'm going to be giving you guys the pain rating, telling you guys how much they hurt. Now, quick little disclaimer. This is from my experience because piercings are very, very different for everybody. What may be really painful for me may not be as painful for somebody else or vice versa. So this is not to, if you are looking to get a specific piercing, I don't want you guys to take my pain rating and think it's going to be the same for you, because every piercing experience is different, every healing process is different. So just kind of take what I'm saying as like with a grain of salt and just kind of like go through your own experience. But I just really wanted to make this video in case like anyone who is out there who may be curious about how much piercings hurt me or what certain piercings hurt me. Kind of fun. And I will finally have a video on my channel that is all together, all of my piercings and how much they hurt. That way people don't have to go through each one of my videos and trying to find, how much did my philtrum piercing hurt? How much did my belly button piercing hurt? How much did my, whatever hurt? You know what I mean? So yes, we are going to go through every single one of my piercings, and I'm going to tell you how badly or how not badly they hurt. So let's get started. So I believe I have almost 30 piercings. I think it's 28 to 30 piercings, I think, right now as I'm sitting here. The exact number escapes me, but it's somewhere around 28 to 30 piercings. And I started getting pierced. My very first piercings, I was 8 weeks old. I got my lobes pierced, and then I got a couple more lobe piercings, and then my first body piercing other than my ears was my belly button. And that is where we are going to start, because my lobe piercings, I don't really remember them because I was so incredibly young. The first piercing we're going to talk about is my belly button. And by far, still to this day, my belly button piercing was my most painful, and I'm going to give that a 12 out of 10, okay? 10 being the worst, 1 being I barely felt it. My belly button was definitely a 12 out of 10. I don't know what it was about that piercing. I don't know if it was because it was my first piercing other than my ears, but I still, there are certain pains you remember. Women who have had children say that they always, they remember what it felt like to have a child, or, certain injuries, people always remember that pain. My belly button, still to this day, however, almost 15 years later, I still remember that pain like it was yesterday. That one hurt me so much, 12 out of 10. Now, I know it's different for everybody. There have been people who told me that their belly button didn't hurt at all, and I don't know how that's possible. I don't know if I just have really tough skin, but mine hurt like a motherfucker. Okay? And it also took so freaking long to heal. I also did not enjoy the healing process of that one at all. Thoroughly did not enjoy. If for any reason I took out my belly button piercing, I really don't think I would get it redone just because it hurt that bad. Next up, we're going to talk about my nose piercings. I have 4 nostril piercings and 1 septum. And after my belly button piercing, I got my nose pierced. And I believe it was this one. That was my very first one. I have had my nostrils pierced a total of 8 times. There's a whole story on that. If you guys want a story time on why I have my nose pierced 8 times, let me know and I will make that video for you. So I am no stranger to getting my nose pierced and what that feels like. So having it done 8 times, I've pretty much become used to that. And if I had to rate my nose piercing pain, getting my nose pierced, honestly, I would give it a 3 out of 10. The worst part for me when I get a nose piercing, and I'm sure a lot of other human beings can relate to this, is the worst part about getting your nose pierced is whenever you do, as soon as that needle goes through, your eyes start watering because it's like right next to your sinuses and all that pressure. Like, no matter what, your eyes are instantly going to water and you're going to like cry. Not because it hurt, but that's just because that's just like the natural reaction that happens when you get your nose pierced. So that honestly is the worst part for me because it's just kind of inconvenient. Like, you have this needle in your nose and you're like trying to like clean up all your tears. That's really not that bad. I personally think getting a zit on your nose or in your nose, that's worse than actually getting a nose piercing. So now moving on to my septum piercing. I have had my septum pierced 2 times. The very first time I got it done, I was very uneducated, I was very naive, and I really didn't know what to expect with the septum piercing, and I was pierced incorrectly the first time. The first time I ever got my septum pierced, I was pierced right here through the cartilage, okay? Which is not where a septum piercing is supposed to go, in case any of you do not know that. So the first time I got my septum pierced, it was 10 out of 10. It was so incredibly painful, and at the time, I didn't understand why, because I was always told that septum piercings don't hurt that bad. I didn't understand why the hell mine hurt so freaking bad. And then after doing some research and talking to different people, I had then realized that my septum was pierced incorrectly, and that's why it hurt so bad. So I ended up taking it out, waiting a couple years, and getting it redone, which is what you are seeing now. And I got it done correctly the second time, so it's like up in that sweet spot. Like if you put your fingers up your nose, you can kind of feel like that skin part up your nose. That's the sweet spot. That's where the needle is supposed to go through. And when I got it done the second time, it was like a 4 out of 10. It really wasn't that bad. Again, the clamp probably and the eye watering was the worst part. But as far as getting the actual piercing, it really wasn't that bad. And the healing the second time around with my septum piercing, way easier. Again, like I already talked about my lobe piercings, I got all 3 of my lobes pierced when I was relatively young, and it was with a gun, and a piercing gun, and I, again, don't really remember what that felt like, so I can't really answer that. But now that I'm older and my ears are stretched now, as you can see, I have, these 3 stretched and these 2 stretched. I think what I'm gonna do is, did it hurt to stretch them? Like, what was the pain level of stretching my ears? Straight up, 0 out of 10. Like, stretching didn't hurt me at all because I did it correctly. Stretching should never hurt. If it hurts, you're not doing it right. Moving on down to my lip piercings. First, we're going to talk about my philtrum/Medusa piercing. This has always been a dream piercing of mine for years and years and years, and almost 4 years ago, I got this pierce. I believe I got it in August of 2020, I'm pretty sure. And it's still one of my favorite piercings. I love my philtrum piercing. And I was really nervous to get it done because so many people told me that it is a very painful piercing to get because of all of the little nerve endings. And I don't see, the weird thing about my philtrum piercing is that, which is this one right here, I don't know if I pointed at it already, but the interesting thing about my philtrum piercing is I remember getting it done, but by the time I got home that night, I had completely forgotten the pain of it. Like, I didn't really remember it. So I guess, like, if I'm really trying to put myself back there and remember the pain, I would give it maybe like a 4 or 5 out of 10. I could feel it, but it wasn't horrible. So like 5 out of 10, I guess. Moving on down to my labret piercing. This is one of my newest piercings. I have had it for this October will be 2 years since I've had my labret piercing. And this one was a lot easier to get pierced than my Medusa. Like, it didn't hurt as bad, but the healing process for my labret was way harder than my philtrum. For what reason? I have no idea. But getting my labret piercing, I would have to give it, let's see, what did I write down? I wrote everything down on my phone. A 4. I put a 4 out of 10 for my labret piercing. And for everyone who is wondering, so I've had my philtrum for 4 years. I've had my labret for almost 2 years. And people are going to ask me if it has caused any damage to my teeth. And I was just at a dentist appointment about a month or so ago, and it has not caused any visible damage as of yet, One thing you have to keep in mind with oral piercings, which I'm sure many of you guys know, is they are never ever a forever thing because it is inevitably going to cause tooth or gum damage somewhere down the line. I do not anticipate to have these piercings until the day I die because I just don't know what's going to happen with my teeth. But in the time that I have had them, there is absolutely no damage yet. No receding gum lines, no chipped teeth or anything like that, no enamel damage. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know a lot of people would probably ask. Next up is my eyebrow piercing, which is right here on my right eyebrow. This is my second time having my eyebrow pierced. The first time I had it for many, many years, and then I took it out for work, and then I got it done again recently, I would say a little over a year ago, like year and a half, something like that. And it's really like, I think the eyebrow is one of the easiest piercings to get. Like, I gave it like a 2 out of 10. It really doesn't hurt that bad. It is a piercing you have to be very careful with because they do have a tendency to reject quite a bit. So you really kind of have to be very careful with the healing process and like what jewelry you're putting in it and things like that. But as far as getting it, like 2 out of 10. Really easy, and I like it because it's kind of like a little hidden piercing I have. Moving down yonder to my nipple piercings, another little hidden piercing, is I have both of my nipples pierced. I got my right one done in 2015, and then I think I got my second one, my left breast, done I think it was 2017, I want to say. So there was like a 1.5 year gap. I did not get both done at the same time. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, that was a little bit of a painful piercing. Like, I think I wrote down and I gave it an 8 out of 10. My right one was easier than my left one. For whatever reason, my left one hurt way more than my right one. I don't know if it's because like I kind of already knew what to expect. So I was a little more like, you know, not as adrenaline pumped as I was for my first one. But yeah, nipple piercings, they were a little bit painful, but the healing process was a freaking dream. Like, I had no issues with them at all. And still to this day, like, they're doing amazing. And I will probably have them forever because they are some of my favorites. Because I am very, you know, I'm not packing a whole lot up top, and they're just something that gives me a little bit of a confidence boost, you know, instead of seeing just like really tiny boobs. It's like really tiny boobs, but like, ooh, a surprise, you know what I mean? Yeah, I love my nipple piercings. I do not regret getting them. I will probably always have nipple piercings, honestly. Like, if I had to take them out for any reason and they closed up, I would totally get them redone again. It's the kind of pain that, for me personally, that I would go through again. All right, and all the rest are my ear piercings, and I'm not gonna go through each one. I'm just gonna kind of like generalize them. So all of my helix piercings, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 like official helix piercings, and those, honestly, those are like an 8 out of 10 to get done. Helix piercings for me are some of the piercings that I dread the most going to get because they are just so freaking painful, and the healing process is really painful, and the healing process is really long. I don't enjoy getting helix piercings. I love the look of them, but getting them, not a good time. 8 out of 10. I hate getting helix piercings, but I love them, if that makes sense. Next is my daith piercing. I got my daith piercing at the exact same time as my mom and my sister. It's kind of like our little matching piercing we all have together. And this one, it was a very interesting experience. It definitely hurt. I wrote down a 7 out of 10 for that one. And when I got it, and I talked about this in like my daith piercing videos, but when I got it, I thought that like the piercer hit something and I went deaf, because all of a sudden, like I was like laying down for it, and all of a sudden, like, I could hear clearly, and then I couldn't hear anything. Like, it was all like muffled. So I was like, oh my God, did he just freaking make me deaf? Like, what just happened? And he takes a Q-tip and he starts cleaning, and I could hear again, and I was like, oh my God, like, I was like, what just happened? But it turns out when he pierced it, and as I was laying down, all of the blood from getting it pierced went into my ear canal and like muffled my hearing. So I did not go deaf. It was just blood clogging my ear. So, but it was just a very scary experience because I couldn't see what was going on, obviously. So I had no idea what was happening, but it was a pretty painful piercing to get done. It was pretty gnarly, and the whole experience altogether, I was just like, whoa, this is really freaking weird. Like, what just happened? But I love it. I think it's a very flattering piercing. And for everyone who's gonna ask about the whole daith piercing and migraine thing, I suffer from migraines ever since I was about 12 years old. That's about as far back as I can remember having migraines. And I can confidently say that daith piercings do not help prevent my migraines at all. I know some people have said it worked, and when I first got it, I thought it worked because I didn't have one for a long time, and then they started back up again. So I think it's almost like a placebo effect where like you think, oh, I'm gonna get the daith piercing to help my migraines, and then you don't have one, and you're kind of like tricking your body almost. But no, my daith piercing does not help my migraines at all. The next one I have on my list is my rook piercing. I do have my rook pierced. It's just kind of like tucked back there, as you can see. I have very small ears, so it's kind of hard to see everything that I have. And my rook piercing, I wrote down an 8 out of 10, but I don't know why I wrote that. I don't remember it hurting that bad to get. I wonder if I recorded it. Hang on. Let me do some research here. So I'm watching my rook piercing experience video, and I did not realize this. I have had my rook pierced for 7 years. That's nuts. So I just finished watching that video of mine, and okay, like, it is crazy. This is kind of like a little side tangent, but it's crazy watching like my older videos from like 5 to 10 years ago and how weird I was on camera, because now when I film, I'm just so relaxed and so much more myself that now when I look back at those videos, I'm like, you're weird. Like, I was a weirdo. Anyway, so in the video, I gave it a 6 out of 10, but I said because of the uncomfortableness of getting it done, it was an 8 out of 10. So I wasn't totally off on my original list, because on the list that I made, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I did say that there was a lot of burning and pressure, and that was the worst of it. So yeah, there you go. I'm just gonna roll with it, 8 out of 10. But what I do remember the most about my rook piercing is the healing process was so painful. I don't know what it was, but like most of the healing process for my rook piercing was a lot of burning. Like it just burned like almost all the time. So the healing process sucked, and obviously I didn't enjoy getting it done too much either. But yeah, I love my rook piercing. It's actually the one piercing I forget about the most because it's so like tucked back in there, you know what I mean? Next up are my tragus piercings. I have 2, one on my left, one on my right. I love my tragus piercings. They are like probably one of my favorite ear piercings that I have. And I've gotten my traguses pierced at least 3 to 4 times. I think it was 3 times because I had to get, the first time I got it done, I had to take it out and get it redone because it was starting to like reject a little bit. So I think I've had the right side done twice and then the left side once. Really easy piercing, honestly, like 3 out of 10. It really didn't hurt, and they're so cute. They're so flattering. Like, oh, it's just such a cute piercing, you know what I mean? Like, I love my tragus piercings. The next piercing that I have on my list are my forward helix piercings. So I have 2 right here, and I have had these for probably almost a decade now. I've had my forward helixes for a really long time. Again, they are one of my favorites. I love all of my ear piercings, but I just have certain ones that I'm like, oh my gosh, and those are my forward helixes. So I got my forward helixes pierced maybe about 7, 8 years ago, something like that, and they were so easy to get done, 2 out of 10. Did not hurt at all. Now, they are considered a helix piercing. However, if you touch your ear, if you touch this part of your ear right here, it is a lot thinner than if you touch your ear right here. The cartilage is way thicker over here than it is right here. So it was way easier for me to get done. My forward helixes were an absolute dream. They healed beautifully. They were super easy to get done. And I really like the hoop look in them, so I do wear hoops in mine. They're just really cute. I love them, very flattering. And I really want to get another one, but I don't know if I have room. And the very last piercing that I'm going to give a pain rating to is my conch piercing right here. So this one, I got it literally as like on a whim one day. Like I think I was at the mall with coworkers and we started talking about piercings, and a couple of them were like, yeah, I'd be down to go get a piercing. And we left the mall, we went to my piercer, and we all got piercings, and I decided to get my conch pierced. I think it was for like one of my birthdays, like maybe 7 years ago or something like that. And I really wanted that piercing, so I was very, very excited, even though it was such like a last minute impulsive decision. And my conch, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Now, the worst part of it was when I got it done, you could audibly, like everyone in the room, you could audibly hear a pop when it got pierced. I don't know if that has happened to anybody else, but it was literally like, you know, take a deep breath in, she started to pierce it, and as I was breathing out, you could just hear a like when the needle went through. I don't know, it was crazy. I don't remember it being super bad. I don't remember the healing being super bad. Just going off of like what I remember, a 6 out of 10. I would totally get another one, but because I have my daith pierce, I don't think I have enough room for another conch piercing. So I just have the one right here, and I absolutely love it. It is, again, one of my favorites. So now that we have given all the pain ratings, let's go through and count all of my piercings. I'm gonna start at the very bottom and work my way up. So we have my belly button, 1, both my nipples, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Okay, I have 27 piercings currently. A couple of the piercings that I have retired that I no longer have is my Monroe piercing. I don't have that. I do not have my tongue pierced anymore. I do not have my smiley pierced anymore. Those are the few that I can remember that I have officially retired that I don't have anymore. And I put all of my helix piercings together in the pain rating for like an 8 or 9 out of 10 because every single helix piercing for me hurts, okay? That's why I kind of put them all together in their little category because they all suck. So there you go, guys. Those are all of my piercings and all of the pain ratings for them. I hope you guys found this entertaining. I hope you found it helpful. If you're interested in getting a certain piercing and you kind of want to know what you're in for, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Again, please remember, just take what I say with a grain of salt. You may have a totally different experience than me. If you guys would like to share the pain ratings for your piercings, please feel free to do so in the comments below. Again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs up, subscribe, turn on all notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos from me. But as the rest of you, I love you guys so very much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you very soon in my next video. I love you guys. Bye. Mwah. Also, if you would like to see a tattoo version of this, let me know, and I can do a tattoo version as well.